So let's raise that big question right at the top tonight. Who is winning the race for the vaccine? Will vaccine nationalism cost countries like India to the benefit of the higher income countries? Which vaccine is India's best bet at the moment? How fast can India get a vaccine? I'm going to be joined today by special guest, Professor Dr. Rajdeep Kang is probably India's leading vaccine scientist, microbiologist, joins me at the moment. I'm also joined by Kirill Dmitriev. He's the CEO at RDIF, the Russian Development Investment Fund, which is driving the Russian Sputnik V vaccine, and Professor Stanley Perlman, one of the world's leading microbiologists and professor at the University of Iowa, is with us. I appreciate all of you joining us. I'll come to you, Professor Kang, in a moment for the Indian perspective. But let's go to first Kirill Dmitriev, because the big news coming in at the moment, Mr. Dmitriev, CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, is while all the attention over the last few days has been on Moderna and Pfizer, which have declared 90% efficacy, we are told that Sputnik V will also now be almost ready in a few days or few weeks. Are you also claiming 90% plus efficacy in your clinical trials, as your President Vladimir Putin seemed to suggest at the BRICS summit?
Well, so there are just 3 vaccines in the world that published preliminary clinical trial results. And we also published those results, and they show very high efficacy of 92%. And this is a number that is calculated very simply. 75% of clinical trial participants received the vaccine, but only 4 out of 20 people who've been infected were on vaccine, 16 were on placebo, which gives 92% efficacy rate on 16,000 people who've been taking the first and the second shot. So this is definitely a very good efficacy number, and our vaccine has been getting as much attention as others, also because it's based on a human adenoviral vector, which we believe is a safer and better studied approach.
We are also being told Mr. Dmitriev, that the first shipment of the Sputnik V vaccine arrived in India a few days ago. Your partnering pharmaceutical company, Dr. Reddy's of Hyderabad, and we are told now that permission to conduct human trials has been given, and the trials could happen within the next week in Kanpur. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And it's really a Russian-Indian vaccine that we believe Sputnik V is, because we are going to manufacture it jointly with several Indian companies, and obviously clinical trials are starting in India. So it's very much of a joint Russian-Indian effort. And not surprisingly to us, we just released results of a poll we've done in India. 60% of people in India have heard of Sputnik V. So we are starting clinical trials. India knows about our vaccine, and it's really a joint Russian-Indian vaccine that we are working on.
So you're interestingly calling it a joint Indian-Russian vaccine. Let me come to you, Professor Stanley Perlman, there at the University of Iowa. You've been monitoring closely the results of Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, both claiming more than 90% efficacy. How effective and how soon do you see these vaccines being used to contain the pandemic?
Yes, well, I think that it's all very, very encouraging. The results are much better than we expected. These viruses are very protective against a disease. There's still details we need to know about the studies, and there are still questions about how long the immune response will be effective. But still, these results could not have been better at this point.
But there are concerns Professor Perlman, over the small size of the samples that Moderna has used when coming up with these efficacy results. Does that worry you, that we still don't know both how long the immunoresponse will last, and whether this sample size is enough to claim that the vaccine is efficacious against coronavirus?
Well, you raise a good point. The number of people who have disease within the study is pretty small, but it's enough so that people can draw statistical conclusions from it. Initially, we didn't even think we'd get these good statistical conclusions, and we also have, these are more people than the original analyses thought were necessary to make a conclusion. So yes, we still have a little waiting to do, but as I said, it could not have been better from what we were hoping for. So there's still a lot of issues. One, the study, as you say, the numbers are small. We don't know how long it'll last. We still have to rev up manufacturing facilities so that you can be given enough doses can be manufactured so that people all around the world can get enough doses of this. And then, of course, with these two particular vaccines, because they're made from RNA, the internal structure of the virus, they need to be kept cold, which is a problem in certain parts of the world.